Hello everybody and welcome to today's Sunday sermon, which is the 18th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Today we have a man in the audience listening to Jesus, really not listening but very worried about a family situation about inheritance. And he asks Jesus, "Tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." And Jesus doesn't want to get involved in that way in people's lives. But he tells him not to be so worried about things of this world, that he should seek rather the things of the next world. Jesus didn't want to be involved in people's lives the way this man was asking him. But he was redirecting the man's focus to the things of heaven.
What is truth? Says Pontius Pilate to Jesus. It is a powerful question, and we have many interpretations of it. Jesus uses bread as the way of explaining truth, and he said in fact that he was the bread that came down from heaven. It might be the best to call it food. Food is necessary for all our bodies so that we might live. So it is what is required by us all, and in all cultures, whether it's bread or maize flour or whatever. Now Jesus helps us to make the leap from asking the question, what is the essential that keeps us alive, both on earth and ever after? Earthly food is not the most essential nourishment then that we need. It's spiritual food which he says he is. We in the Catholic Church believe that the Eucharist is the bread that comes down from heaven. Jesus gave himself when at the Last Supper he took bread and said a blessing and said, "Take and eat. This is my body." The same with the chalice filled with wine, he said, "This is my blood." And he said, "Take and drink." And then he said, "Do this in memory of me." Jesus said that he is the bread come down from heaven, the food come down from heaven. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 17 and from 20 to 24, we read, "Truth is in Jesus." We continue to receive Jesus provided we have turned away from sin. So we eat the food that is Christ. Now, that is where the challenge is, because the reading continues. You should put away the old self of your former way of life, corrupted through deceitful desires, and be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and put on the new self, created in God's way, in righteousness and holiness of truth. End of quote.
Saint Ignatius was recovering from an injury in the army, actually to his right leg, and he had several operations, and the bones being reset and broken and reset again, and his time was long and tedious while recuperating. And he asked for something to read because he was an intellectual man, as we found out later. And books were brought to him on the lives of the saints and the life of Christ. He was very impressed with these books, because the books he read usually were romantic stories. Now, this is all that was available to him, these holy books, shall we say. But he really was impressed, and it was the beginning of his conversion. And later on, he founded the Jesuit order. But he said, these people have done great things for God. Why can't I do the same? Why can't I share my talents and give my time to helping others to know God?
Read St. Paul to the Galatians chapter 2 verse 20, and I quote, "It is no longer I, but Christ living in me. The life that I am now living, subject to the limitations of human nature, I am living in faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." End of quote. So, we have Christ working through us and guiding us as long as we cooperate with him. And this is how it works. Christ in us guides us to avoid such as hatred, unforgiveness, gossip, lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy and pride. We know these in the depths of our hearts because our informed consciences tells us. Christ in us opens up the path of holiness by helping us in prayer and good works. First of all, what are good works? We have neatly put them in the form of the corporal works of mercy, which are to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, to clothe the naked, to give shelter to travellers, to visit the sick, to visit the imprisoned, and to bury the dead. There are also spiritual works of mercy, instructing the ignorant, advising or counselling the doubtful, admonishing the sinner, consoling and comforting the sorrowful, forgiving injuries, bearing wrongs patiently, and praying for the living and the dead. I will quote Pope Francis: "The corporal and spiritual works of mercy continue in our own day and set about restoring dignity to millions of people. They are our brothers and sisters to engage with and be responsive to the needs of the vulnerable and the poor around us." End of quote. This is from Misericordia et Misera. And I quote Karen Ekman on February the 9th, 2021, when she wrote, "No, we are not saved by our good works, but we are saved in order to do good works. Works that God planned long ago for us to have on our to-do lists every day. We do our good works in order to give him thanks and praise and to show our gratitude for all that he has done for us, rather than doing good works so as to gain his favour." To be really rich is to be rich in the things of God and storing up treasures for ourselves in heaven. St. Paul says that if we want to be rich before God, do acts of kindness, generosity, help others, preach to others, have concern and love for other people. We should think of the occasion when we will be standing before God on Judgment Day. And will we be really rich on that day? Will we have done what God wanted us to do with our talents and our faith and our witnessing? May God bless you and have a beautiful Sunday and a grace-filled week ahead.